Do you want to know what it is? You have to see it for yourself. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So this video is about the Oxbot OX32 stack, which was developed from extensive feedback from many pilots in the Chinese Drone Racing League. There we go, this is the beautiful box that they've given to us. And I was given this stack to do a quick review and flight test by Joshua from Oxbot. Big shout out to Joshua, and I think he's doing a really good job of promoting his product. So we all know that BL-32 got discontinued recently. So until now, the FPV community is still trying to adjust to this disturbance. And this product is a new challenger with a new ESC firmware that may be a very valid option. Hey, Alexa, when was BL-32 discontinued? Alexa, when was BL-32 discontinued?
From vintagethenworld.com. Sega produced 800,000 32X units and sold an estimated 660.
Alright, she's talking crap. Alexa, shut up. Alexa, please stop. Alexa, stop. Anyway, let's get into it. I don't do 20-minute reviews, and I'm not going to go through every single product spec because Google exists for a reason, but I'm here to tell you that this may be a very good option for your next 5-inch racing quad. I'm going to go through some major features that make it stand out from its competitors. And yeah, it touts a new ESC firmware. It claims to be much more desync resistant and reliable against the BL-32 freezing issue that happens occasionally on a really hard crash. And though I've had not much time to fly yet, only maybe like 5 or 10 packs, I might make a follow-up post on Instagram later on when I have some time. Okay, so what are we looking at? We are seeing a H7 flight controller, a 8S60M ESC for $130, and it comes with plug and play for HDZero and DJI 04, Bluetooth tuning, and an MPU 6000 gyro option. And my guess is that because the MPU 6000 is out of production, and Oxbot claims all its gyros are new, they must have had the foresight to stockpile quite a few of them before all this started. But there are quite a few features that stand out to me, and what's funny is that most of these features, they're pretty simple to implement, but they just make sense. They're not strictly needed, but they are big quality of life upgrades for the building and operating process. So the first thing is that the manufacturer Oxbot, the GOATs, they actually tell you, they tell you what is the exact screw height that you need, how high is the standoff going to be. They even list down to 1mm each of the rubber spacers. And this is really great for planning your build in advance. This is attention to detail, people. And the next thing is that there is a connector somewhere in here that plugs right nicely into this pre-wired harness that they sell with 4 LED strips. So you can just put LEDs really easily on your quad. The only gripe that I have is that I'm not sure if these LEDs are chainable. They don't look like they're daisy chainable. So if you're using this for an FAI race where you need LEDs on both the top and the bottom of each arm, if the rules still say that you do, I'm not sure, then this may not be directly compatible. But yeah, if you're just gonna put some LEDs for champs or whatever, you just need one LED or tiny LEDs on one side, this is a great, fantastic option. I'm really lazy and I hate my FAI quads looking like they've got spaghetti with wires flying everywhere. So yeah, that's great. And something else to mention is that, I don't know if you can see it, but there are these 14 tiny wires down here. And this is the harness between the FC and the ESC, which is quite reminiscent of what Redux Air did with the Redux Air stacks a few years ago to save space on the board. And I'm not sure if this is good or not, because on one hand it's a tiny 14p cable, it's so small, and I'm not sure if it's possible to repin and recrimp this cable if it breaks. But what's cool is that we save a ton of vertical space on the board by doing this, and also we have 4 power and 4 ground wires. Right, so it's 4 power, 4 ground, and 6 for the 4 motor signals and current and telemetry. So you have got some redundancy here. And Joshua also claims that the harness is very durable and it doesn't fray easily like silicone. And that also recessed the position of the harness. You can see that it's kind of recessed within the flight controller, so that in a massive frontal impact, when the camera and the standoffs get pushed in, it doesn't smack and kiss the FC and break that plug. So that's pretty nice. We also have a recessed USB-C connector over here, as you can see, to avoid the damage. The plug's blocking it. And of course, we have a HDZero plug on the other side for instant no solder connection to the Race V3 and also DJI-04. And the stack joins the ranks of the Halo FC and the Crosscore FC to offer this feature. They also provide a shorter harness, which is really nice. But if you're lazy like me, I'll just slap on this and I'll call it a day. Yes. There also is a battery status indicator right here with 3 LEDs. So if I'm walking to the flight line and I've brought an empty battery by mistake, it's going to tell me that I brought an empty battery when I plug in by not showing 3 green LEDs. So let's say I've got a storage charge battery right here, and if I just plug it in, you can see after like 2 seconds that we've got 2 yellow LEDs, which means that it is not full. So that's another really nice and nifty feature that we have. Also, the feature I love the most, which is this TPU piece right here. This is such a good idea. I think it's so good that Joshua mentioned that they had to patent this TPU piece. So it's pretty simple. I'm just gonna pull up the photo right here because I've already built it, but they give you the pre-soldered XT60 pigtail with the 12 gauge wires. You solder those on first, and then you simply slide the cap forward and you solder these 2 wires for the caps on. And this piece not only holds the capacitor around when it's flying, it also aligns it properly so you can solder it on really easily. What a brilliant feature. All manufacturers should be doing this, but unfortunately, apparently, it already got patented. You can ask Oxbot about that. So before we go to the field, I want to take the time to talk about my ESC settings. So this would be my ESC settings that I usually use for BL Heli 32, right? And that would include 23 degrees motor timing, which is, I would say it's high enough that it won't desync, but it's not so high the motor's getting smoking hot. And a PWM from 24 to 48 because I feel that's pretty good. Low demag because you don't need high demag usually. 40% ramp-up power to conserve and save the ESC a bit longer because honestly, I can't tell the difference for anything higher than like 35%, honestly. And everything else is pretty much default. Yeah, so what I've done is, if you see the OX32 configurator over here, it's an online configurator just like Blue Jay for Tiny Whoops. And I've done basically this. I've left everything as default except for those settings that I usually change and apply to BL32. So I think it's a pretty fair basic comparison, but just a PSA that I'm a newbie on this and I have no idea. So if I'm missing something major for the Oxbot stack, please let me know. And yeah, I'm just following Flowerpig's advice because he said to just basically use similar settings as BL Heli 32 and it should be fine. Well, yeah, these are some really cool features, and I think it's really clear that they've really gone around asking for pilot feedback, but none of this matters if it doesn't actually fly well. So what we're going to do is tomorrow we're going to go out to the field at Detroit at Signal Seekers, and we're going to actually fly a few packs first, and then I'm going to do a blind test. I'm going to get my friend Corbin to plug in this quad for me and another one that's on the BL Heli 32 ESC, and we are going to see if I can tell a difference. The OSD is the same, the frame is the same, the motors are the same, the battery is the same. The only difference is the stack and also the antenna, but that doesn't matter. So we're out at Signal Seekers and I have built my Oxbot stack in the wrecked Hoku frame with the VCI motors. And I just slapped on the same, or approximately the same settings as I put on the BL Heli 32 ESC. We're going to do a blind test and I'm going to see if I can tell which is BL and which is OX32 because I've got this quad and another one with the same OSD name, same everything. So maybe I'm going to get Corbin to plug in for me and not tell me what quad it is, and I'll see if I can actually tell any difference or not. You mentioned some concerns about like soldering boards together or something. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the ESC, I'm actually really excited about that. The BL Heli 32 obviously left us all hanging dry. There's nothing coming there. So we've kind of been abandoned. AM32, I've tried it. Once you get the settings in, it seems pretty good. It's great, but you got to kind of dial in the settings. It's not just plug and go. I'm really excited about an ESC that might just work.
Do you have any recommended settings for AM32?
No.
No? Yeah, it's kind of just see how it goes,
per
right?
drone.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, depends on your KV. What I can say is what we found is set the KV slightly lower than the actual KV of the motor seems to help with desyncs and such. Mm-hmm. And that really, what we're doing, we're running super high KV motors. The higher the KV, the worse it's going to be for the ESC to try to control. So I think that struggles. The other thing with the Oxbot stack that I'm both find really cool and very hard is you can look at it. It's really close.
Yeah, it's really close to the top. Like literally, there's 1 mm of clearance right here.
Yeah. And the inset USB port is really cool, because I mean that's just integrated in the stack, makes it nice and tight. But I'm also worried because the board over that is kind of just set on top of another board. And I mean, we've seen in the past where if you set a board on top of another board and kind of BGA solder those together, you might crack a bunch of traces in a crash. So I worry about durability with this, but I mean, we'll see how it holds up. I mean,
Well, so we talked to
works.
Joshua at I/O, and Joshua said that, oh, I tested it by throwing it off a building a few times and it worked just fine.